I wasn't ever planning on being in venture capital. So I was a chemical engineer in my own life, my old life, a chemical engineer in my old life. I had worked at Procter & Gamble for a while, doing international new products, launching new products in Latin America and other countries, and came out in '98 to work at a startup, and that startup was NextCard. So it was funded by Sequoia, Kleiner, NEA, and others, and went public. And I was their first product person and also led most of their online marketing for about 4 years. And that was really where I learned about venture capital. So I went and did my own company and then went back to get a JD MBA at Berkeley, planning on doing another company, and basically ran into the guys at Morgenthaler at an event. And they offered me a summer job, and I thought, great, I'll learn I'll basically convince them to fund my company, and really loved venture. So my operational experience worked very well. My engineering background was great, and the legal background. And I found what I really liked was connecting people and companies and helping companies to recruit and form those relationships and really coach those companies into becoming bigger companies and learning how to do their own marketing and product development and things of that nature. So I was lucky. Lending Club was my very first investment, and in that deal, I had worked on it independently with some partner help when I was at Morgenthaler. And then when we presented the term sheet, Renaud said he would accept the term sheet, but only if I was the one on the board. And that had sort of cemented my role, I think, in venture capital at that point in time. Yeah. Sometimes it's better. Lending Club was done at a very special time in the market. And I don't think a lot of people realize that. The thesis behind Lending Club was that at that point in time, it was after Lehman crashed, right? So they were developing this peer-to-peer marketplace, and even if you had a very high credit score, you couldn't get money, right? Everything was absolutely frozen. And my thesis was that even in the worst of times, there are high-quality borrowers that are deserving of capital. And at the time, also, it was like a zero interest rate environment where people were just looking for returns, right? So you had both sides kind of colliding at the same time, right? You don't have that environment anymore. And so, Lending Club was a beneficiary of that. And in the memo we wrote, it said, Lending Club had 3 to 5 years to establish themselves in the market and grow to become a big enough player, where they're a player once the other banks can kind of wake up, right? And and I think timing's everything when you're building a big company like that. The biggest companies ever were created where the regulatory environment was uncertain. So Airbnb, Uber, Lending Club, Skype, PayPal, right? All of those, you could argue every one of them was on the other side of the regulatory framework when they started, and they worked through it. So, in terms of the regulatory piece of it, typically those are things where I look forward to it, because I think, well, if the entrepreneur navigates in the right way and works with the right agencies, this could be very successful because it creates a huge moat behind them, right? Because it is unsettling going from an operating role where your budget's millions of dollars a month and you have numbers that you're accountable for and people you're accountable for and a business you're accountable for, to go into venture. It's really unsettling where you can go for days and you're like, I just don't feel like I did anything. Now, did you do a lot? You did. You might have met with like 50 people and made so many connections, but there's really no way to quantify that, right? So how do you think about it? And so you really are only measured at the end of the day by how much you return to your LPs. There's no other metric that matters, right? You can be good on every other KPI and it doesn't matter. And quite frankly, you can be bad on every other KPI and it doesn't matter. It's all about what you return to your LPs. And that's kind of unsettling sometimes for some people. You just kind of have to be zen with that. I'm a Midwesterner, so I just basically look and keep my head down, and my job is to find good deals in a certain range and a certain price, and I believe in them, and things where I feel like I can help the company. And so we continue to do that. And there are still deals that are overpriced that we think, wow, okay, that's just not a good fit because you're going to run into trouble in the next round. And there are deals too on the other end. Like, we love that, sort of call them the baby A's almost, where they were seed deals, they've raised some amount of capital, and now they're like, oh my gosh, we need to raise a Series A. Well, in the last few years, a Series A has meant $10 million. Well, in the old days, way back, 5 years ago, a Series A was $4 to $6 million. And so having that kind of rational discussion with an entrepreneur, saying, hey, what instead of doing like a bridge, let's give you a real Series A, price it, and do kind of what we used to do. And so I think there is some settling back to some sort of norm. Usually when I say I'm never going to invest in this space ever in a million years, and then lo and behold, some company will come along and they'll be like, I hear you, but listen. And I listen, and then I think, wow, I just missed that, or that's completely different than what I thought. And that's usually when I get really interested, because it means that entrepreneur they found something special, and they had their understanding of the market, which worked, which is great. Connecting people, helping them realize their dreams, their passions, and kind of removing obstacles is just fun. And I'm a natural fixer anyway, so I get to fix problems. The people, the CEOs don't call me in the middle of the night and be like, yeah, this really awesome thing happened today. I never get that phone call. That phone call never happens to me, right? I get the phone call of like, oh my God, I just got a letter from this attorney, what do I do, right? Or somebody quit, or something bad happened. Those are the calls I get. And so, but I enjoy sort of helping them, because I've seen a lot of stuff go down. And so it's usually like, okay, take a deep breath, grab a glass of water, read to me or send it to me what you just got, right? And then let's just talk about it, And so I've had a lot of those discussions, and I really enjoy that. So, about this. And I remember when I started in Venture, 07, 08, we would try to have dinners or lunches, with women in Venture, and there would be 7 or 8, most junior, right? And no one with any kind of realizations. And I don't think it was that uncommon at the time, because the joke at that point in time is, has anyone ever seen a carry check, right? There was a kind of a desert for a long time in that situation. And then you fast forward to about a year ago, friends of mine had actually organized this retreat up in Napa with women partners. And it was amazing. Anne Muraco was there, Kirsten Green, Emily Melton, Trey Vasella, and all these people that had had really phenomenal exits, right? And then some junior people as well. And so finally I thought, wow, we have like this critical mass of women that matter, right? And so that was incredibly refreshing, actually. And I think there's sort of a cabal now of women that really do help each other. So when we have good deals, we like to see them do it.